I'm Julie Beckham, the Financial Education Officer at Rockland Trust, and this is the No Shame in This Money Game's Mini Money Minutes. Why Mini Money Minutes? First of all, you're busy, and you want your info fast. Secondly, anthropologists say that we actually derive satisfaction from many things because we see them as less threatening. So, if we are less threatened by many things, and many things can actually make us happy, what if we learn about money through Mini Money Minutes? Let's go. Today's bite-sized Mini Money Minute: inflation. What is it and why are people talking about it? Inflation is the process by which the cost of goods and services tends to rise over time. Goods and services are everything from the cost of a meal at your favorite restaurant to your water bill, though you'll hear a lot of people talk about basics like bread and milk when it comes to inflation. If you're familiar with the concept of supply and demand, another way to explain inflation is that inflation is a function of the supply and demand of money. When inflation is up, you need more money to purchase goods and services, and when it's down, you need less money for those purchases. There are two main types of inflation: demand pull inflation and cost push inflation. Demand pull inflation is when the demand for a certain good or service is higher than the economy's ability to meet those demands. An example of this is the cost of a popular toy around the holidays. If the demand for a $50 talking stuffed animal is higher than what can be produced, parents will end up paying more during the holiday season for that item. Cost push inflation is an increase in prices because the cost of wages and materials go up. A recent example of this is the labor and lumber shortage, which made construction prices and in turn home prices increase. Some economists say that inflation is inevitable. History tells us that as well. I mean, a loaf of bread the year I was born was 35 cents, and I don't think I'm finding one for less than $2.50 now. But the United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve Bank, commonly referred to as the Fed, has a role to play, and that role is to control inflation so that there isn't too much inflation or the opposite, deflation, and often steps in to keep the inflation rate at its average, about 2% a year. The Consumer Price Index, CPI, is the measurement of inflation that the Fed uses to see if it needs to intervene to either curb inflation or deflation. The CPI uses a basket of goods to measure inflation, but that basket includes more than just bread and milk. It also includes housing costs, bedroom furniture, apparel, transportation expenses, medical care costs, recreational expenses, toys, etc. The reason so many people are talking about inflation right now, besides the fact that they might be feeling the effects of it in their everyday purchases, is that the Consumer Price Index rose 7% from December 2020 to December 2021, the largest 12-month increase since 1982. The primary tool the Fed uses to adjust inflation is increasing or decreasing interest rates. Lowering interest rates is a tool that is used to stimulate the economy, as it makes borrowing money and therefore spending it cheaper. And increasing interest rates can slow down economic growth that is causing too much inflation too fast. So when you hear experts talk about inflation, you will also hear them project whether or not the Fed will step in and adjust interest rates. Not many of us are hanging around water coolers lately, but if you are, or if you see someone tweet about the potential of an interest rate hike, the latest CPI, or wonder why their electric bill seems higher, you know that this is all due to inflation, and you might be able to join in the conversation. The No Shame in This Money Game podcast will return with more bite-sized mini money minutes. Until then, keep listening and keep learning with Rockland Trust, member FDIC, the bank where each relationship matters, because we want you to have a healthy relationship with money at any age.